Good afternoon. My name is Dave Wentworth. I am taking a class in Project Management Essentials through National American University, and I am making a presentation on the Joe Neighbor Shed project at the end of the project. The project was for my next-door neighbor, Joe Neighbor. He had asked me to use my skills and experience as a project management student to manage the project to build a shed in his backyard. He would like a shed that is no larger than 10 foot by 10 foot. He would like the shed to have a gabled roof. He desires a window and a door with screen on one side. His house is white, so he would like the shed to match the color scheme of the house. He likes to dabble in gardening, so he would like water and a sink in the corner of the shed. Since the shed will be used to store lawn equipment, lawn tools, and lawn furniture, the shed will be insulated, but finished on the inside. He would like an interior and exterior light. Joe has asked to have the shed completed in 30 days. His maximum budget for the project is $10,000. Joe knows that I am taking classes in project management, so he has asked me to serve as the project manager for designing, planning, and executing the project. Following a meeting with Joe to go over the plans, he agreed to the shed design. His maximum budget was $10,000. The proposed project budget came in under that at $7,125. Joe asked the project be completed in 30 days. The start date for construction was March 1st, 2016. The project is planned to be completed on March 30th, 2016. Before construction could begin, a building permit was applied for through the city. The city told me what inspections were required in regards to electrical and plumbing. Those inspections were scheduled with the proper agencies. Excavation was subcontracted to Duffield Excavation. John Duffield performed a site survey and stated that the water must be 6 feet below ground to prevent freezing. The electrical could not be in the same trench as the water and needed to be 4 feet from the water line, so he planned 2 trenches, running parallel, one at 6 foot and the other at 3 foot below ground, from the house to the shed. He also planned to level an excavated area for the foundation. Quinn Concrete was subcontracted to frame and pour a 10 foot by 10 foot slab foundation 5 inches thick. Having experience in construction, the framing, roofing, insulation, plumbing, finish carpentry, and landscaping will be completed by myself and my son, Tyler Wentworth. The electrical work will be subcontracted to Sparks Electric. They will run the electrical conduit from the house to the shed, install an electrical box, wire the shed for interior and exterior lighting, and an interior outlet. This slide shows the proposed timeline for the project. All tasks have been scheduled to ensure proper timing of each subcontractor on site to meet the dates of the scheduled inspections. This slide presents a summary of the desires and expectations of Joe Neighbor for the shed. After looking at the property, the shed was placed in the southwest corner of the backyard, approximately 100 feet from the house. Joe asked that the shed be a maximum of 10 foot by 10 foot, so the design was developed using the maximum size allowed. The roof is gabled and shingled with medium gray 20-year shingles. The interior of the shed is insulated with R30 batt insulation. The original plan was to install a window and a door in one wall of the shed. Later, Joe stated that he wanted a second window, so a change order was initiated and signed by Joe to install a second window. Since the planned project budget was well below the maximum budget, The additional window was well within the budget constraints. Hardy plank siding was installed and painted white to match the house. Electrical service and water were run to the sheds, and lights and a sink were installed. This is a diagram of the completed shed. The project went very smooth. The owner did request a change to the project. Having completed the change request, we installed a second window. This slide shows the project closeout checklist obtained from BizEdge. I met with Joe Neighbor to discuss the finished shed. He is very pleased with the final project. There are no outstanding issues. All project closeout items have been properly completed and documented. All subcontracts have been closed and invoiced. All inspections are on file at the city offices, and a copy was provided to Joe Neighbor. Documents on products used in the construction of the shed, to include owner's manuals and warranty information, have been given to Joe Neighbor. Reference letters have been requested and resumes updated. The weather in South Dakota between the months of January, February, and March can be extremely cold. Since the timeline for construction was during the month of March, the potential for frozen ground and extremely cold temperatures could have been an issue. Luckily, March of this year was extremely warm. The weather did not become a factor. Staying on schedule to have rough-in inspections for electrical and plumbing work created a challenge. A few extra hours of work on the days prior to the inspections saved us from rescheduling these inspections. The electrical rough-in inspection and plumbing inspection need to be completed prior to insulation or installation of plumbing and electrical fixtures. A passing inspection signed by the inspector must be in hand prior to continuing. The plumbing inspector did find that though the shed was insulated, the copper pipe feeding up from the trench was not insulated as it entered the trench. We had not backfilled the trench, so installing the required pipe insulation did not cause any issue. Left uninsulated, the copper piping would have burst under the pressure of frozen water and caused damage to the shed. Many projects require the use of subcontractors. On this project, working with the subcontractors went well. That is not always the case. The quality of work from one subcontractor to another can vary greatly. It is good to work with professionals that know the codes for the area in which the project will be performed. Having personal knowledge of their work or references is critical. The client expects the work to be performed in a timely manner. The budget is set, and going over budget will cost you in the long run. Keep an eye on the timeline and the budget. Managing the risks on a project is critical for a project manager. An injury to one of the team members or damage to private or public property can be very expensive and cause delays. Always remember to keep safety in the minds of the project team. The Joe Neighbor project was a success. Joe was very happy with the completed shed. All project deliverables were completed on time and under budget. The project team performed well together. This project has shown me the importance of properly defining, planning, and executing the project. Communications and coordination with the client, project team, and subcontractors ensures the project runs smoothly. Open communications allows all parties to address issues at any time during the project to avoid problems. When the project is done, We want the client to feel good about the work done and not have any buyer's remorse while writing that final check. As stated by Horeen, our goal as a project manager is to bring proper closure to our project for all parties involved and to make sure the last impression everyone has of your work is professional and positive. With the experience of this project under my belt, I am now ready for bigger projects.